Here we go again. Hi, in this video we're going to finish off prepping the pool house base, and we're going to pour the concrete in the pool base and the pool house base. Enjoy! Okay, so making these videos does take a little bit of time, so I am going to read through some notes this time, which I haven't done in the previous videos. I hope that's okay. Okay, so I know I touched upon the progress I've made in the pool house base in the last video, but I didn't really show you how much work was involved. So I've distilled about 2 weeks worth of work, which is about 10 hours when you're a dad, into just a few minutes. Okay, so the pool house base involved removing a small tree, or wrestling a small tree, removing a load of topsoil from a raised flower bed. This was definitely the most time-consuming part of the entire thing. I dug down to some stable soil. I built the formwork for the concrete base. This will contain the concrete when it's poured. But after seeing how high the pool house was going to be, looking at the formwork, I decided to lower it by 100 millimeters. So I deconstructed the formwork, remeasured the height of the base, and I moved it 100 millimeters lower. I dug down another 100 millimeters. I built the formwork in its new lowered position. I added some crushed stone and hardcore. I compacted the base with a hand tamper tool, which is probably a plate compactor, but it's just a shed, it's going to be fine. And I added a damp-proof membrane. I did this in gale force winds, which was a bit of a challenge. And then finally, I added some 8mm steel that was left over from the pool base. And that was now ready to be poured, so we can get on to the main event. So, in preparation for concrete day, I've made a few tools to help tamp down the concrete from outside the pool. Tamping is where you just kind of bang long bits of sort of heavy-ish wood onto the concrete to make waves so it all kind of levels out. Those tools consisted of an L-shaped tamper bar, which is basically a 3x2 attached to a long pole. And this will mean I can tamp down in the smaller areas on the perimeter if I need to. And I also made a T-shaped tamper bar to enable me to do slightly larger areas if that was needed. But the main tool that I used was a 4.5 meter piece of 2x4 with some across the base, and then two 2-meter handles coming up 90-degree angles either end, which will enable myself and somebody else to tamp the base widthways from end to end when we're standing on the sides of the pool, so we don't have to get in there. I would have bought or hired a bull float, but they were quite expensive to buy and hire, and I didn't need one last time, and I got a fairly good finish. Plus, there's going to be another a layer of something on the bottom of the pool anyway, so the concrete doesn't need to be perfect. So due to the restricted access and the fairly long distance between the driveway and the garden, using wheelbarrows to wheelbarrow the concrete from the concrete truck into the garden would have taken ages. I think I calculated it was about 150 wheelbarrows in total to do that. It wasn't practical, and I don't think the concrete truck was going to wait around for 2 hours. I didn't really fancy that charge to have a concrete truck standing around on the road. So I booked a concrete pump, which did cost a bit, but it basically enables you to pump concrete over long distances fairly quickly, and I'm glad I did that. Okay, so on concrete day, the pump arrived and the 4-inch pipes were all laid out and joined together from the driveway to the back garden. And the pipes are a mixture of flexible and rigid metal pipes that are all joined up to make a 40-meter long pipeline. Then the mixer arrived and they got set up. Once everyone was where they needed to be, the mixer started mixing and the concrete pump started. The pipes did need to be tapped for some reason to get the concrete to move or flow through when it started to pump. And the pipes were then moved into the pool, and the concrete started mixing, and the pump started to pump the concrete through the pipes into the pool base. We then started pouring a third of the concrete in at the far end, and we raked this around to be at an even-ish level. Once this was done and we poured the first third, myself and somebody else stood on the other side of the pool and we tamped down the concrete in that far end. Once that was done, the pump operator then continued to pump more concrete into the middle third, and we tamped that down. And he was really helpful in sort of making sure that the flow of concrete was evenly distributed throughout the base, and then we were able to tamp the concrete from end to end, making a nice smooth finish. And I was really happy with how that turned out. My like and subscribe bit. If you're enjoying the videos and you'd like to see more videos of the project, please do drop a like on the video. It really helps. I left this bit out of the last few videos and that didn't really help with the subscriptions and the likes. So can you subscribe, share the video as well, if anybody might be interested, see what's going on. And yeah, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, drop that like on and subscribe if you haven't. And also feel free to leave a comment about any projects that you are doing that might be interesting to hear about. Okay, back to the video. Once the pool base was poured, we then started to pour the pool house base. We ran a plank of wood across the formwork down the pool house base, and as per my calculations, 8 meters cube, which was the max the lorry could handle, wasn't quite enough to do that, to fill up the pool house base. So we added in some spare chip-ins and aggregate and bulked it up slightly, and then we floated it with a float that was mounted on a handle to get a nice finish. The verdict. So yeah, I was initially a bit worried about trying to get all the concrete in and level with just one other person, but we did manage to do it in the end. I was fairly happy with the result. We let it go off overnight and then put the safety caps back on the rebar, and the safety caps should probably never have been removed, but we did need to remove them, otherwise we'd keep knocking them off as we were standing just above them and tamping them with that bar. Then the quality control arrived to test the pool base for flatness, and it seemed like he was fairly happy. So it seems like we're good. So next steps, now that the base is poured, I'm going to start assembling the ICF blocks to build the walls. I'm also going to start thinking about different pool finishes, so the internal finish of the pool, so I might make a video on that as well soon. Thanks for watching. See you next time.